Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And Golly, and Reigns, and a goal! And they have done it! Oh, and driven in! And number 11, Matthew Hanlon, followed that in.
Wilson will strike it! And it's gone all the way through! Oh, there you go! Not the cleanest of contacts, but Louis John scores for a third game running.
And there it is! Sutton United at the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago.
But the whistle goes now. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. This is the midweek treat extra because it's the second one this week. Joining me today is Catherine Chambers. Hello, Catherine. How are you? Hey, Catherine. How are
No
you?
sound.
Oh, this is off to a blinding start. Have you got me now? Have you got me now?
I've got no sound.
Oh no! Could you hear the? Oh, you can't hear anything. Hang on. Did that do anything?
No.
No. Oh no. Can you hear me now?
Any good now?
Oh, I've got it now. I can hear you now.
Right. I'll do some editing. Don't worry, that won't be on the podcast. Joining me now eventually. Now we can hear each other. Catherine,
Oh, I think you've gone quiet on me again.
how can you? Oh no, this is a nightmare. Can you hear me? I'm not at all, or not?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, lovely. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm stressing now. I was all right 5 minutes ago.
I know. You were fine in a moment ago, and all of a sudden you went quiet on me.
We could have a chat backstage, but never mind. So I'm going to ask you just to give us a little bit of your job title, because I get these things wrong. Dave Fairbrother told me off very much when I got his job wrong a couple of years ago. So tell us your job title and what it is you do at the club.
So I am one of the first team sports therapists at the club. And basically I look after the first team, do all their pre-post work. I do the first aid. Oh God, I do loads of things. I go from doing all like the pre and post massage and rehab with the guys to ordering their dinner at the end of the day. So yeah, it's quite varied what I do.
Perfect. So you kind of say that, and I know most people associated with the club are quite self-effacing and I just did it. But that's important stuff. That's not just just I do bits and pieces. That yourself and Bobby are. I mean, have you been together for how long at the club? Not together. Sorry, I'm not going to start any rumours like that. You've been working at the club together.
Good question. I think it's 12 years next season, I think. So I've been with him 11 seasons. And then now we've got Ben, and he's in his second season. So there's 3 of us now, not just 2. So, yeah. Get him in there because he needs a shout out.
So I don't know if you heard that there's one thing I tried to get you on a couple of weeks ago when we were doing a little bit about the her game too as well.
Yes, yeah,
And just timings didn't work for us.
yeah. Unfortunately, sorry.
No, that's fine. But it lets me do this wonderful joke. I mean, I'm going to say wonderful, and we all know it's not. So quite literally, you are only watching football for the men's bodies.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is.
yeah.
That is a list.
Let's just be very blunt about what it is.
That is almost one of the only times I'm ever going to get to say that and not get a smack in the mouth.
Yeah.
Because it is your job description.
Yeah, pretty much. I get asked all the time. They go, "I envy your job." I'm like, "Why?" They go, "You massage men for a living." I'm like,
yeah.
"It's a little bit more harder than it actually seems."
Yeah, and also the smell of deep heat must never leave your nose.
To be honest, it does permeate, but I actually like the smell.
Just as well, really. I used to never walk in the Sunday league. I used to just stay outside the changing room because I'm like, no, there's no, I can't take it. I really can't.
Well, I've had years of experience of it.
Yeah.
But when I was a teenager, I used to box. So so one of the things we used to do is we used to cover ourselves in deep heat because we always ate. So it's come from the kids.
Yeah,
from being a kid.
I didn't know my cousin, my goddaughter cousin. She used to box in Ireland.
Oh, really?
She was one of the regional champions a couple of years back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so very strange, very, very strange. Again, another pretty girly, and next thing you watch it, you're like, don't do that. But yeah,
yeah. No, I done it when I was 18 because I my dad got me into it. And I was at Croydon Amateur Boxing years and years ago, and then I did my my assistance coaches course. So I'd done it for probably about 12 years. So from 11 years of age, just doing it because your dad wants to get you in the gym because you're kind of unconfident and there's a little bit of bullying going on, and then all of a sudden you get the bug for it, and then the next thing you know, you're 18 and you're going for your assistant coaches award with Terry Edwards, who was the GB coach at the time, and and then I was one of the first assistant coaches in the country. So yeah, it was just like
Wow, that's excellent.
Yeah.
That's pretty wicked. So what caused the switch then to?
Oh well, I've always loved football. So again, my dad, a big dad influence on me. He is a massive Crystal Palace fan, and he started taking me to the games. And I can remember my first season because it was the first season Palace were the champions of Division 1. And and it was brilliant, and we were on the terraces, and it was great. And I always used to see the physiotherapist when he ran out on the pitch, and I was like, I love to do that. That looks like a good job. And when I was at high school, my science teacher was Mrs. Solarco, and she really got me into biology. And I ended up just having a real passion for science and like mainly like anatomy. And then and then I went off to college. I had once I'd finished college, I did science, took a year out, and then after that I went back into doing massage, and that's how it kind of works. So yeah, it's always been in my blood, and it was always something I've always wanted to do. So
excellent. So do you obviously been with us so long now? I've seen the celebrations, so I know there's a lot of love for the team. But you kind of find it quite difficult when you're sitting on the sidelines being professional, not shouting.
There's a bit of shouting because when I think one thing, especially in football, especially if you're working in football, you've got to be a fan of football. And I think it's like, if I wasn't, and I probably wouldn't love it as much. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's why I'm like, I love football. I've grown up with football. So I can't not celebrate and sometimes shout and give my 2 cents worth. So
it was going to be one of the questions. Was it you like watching football? Or was it you just literally doing a job? But you well covered that.
Yeah, no, I like I said, I went to I used to watch Crystal Palace. I used to live in Thornton Heath, so when I was growing up, my dad used to live by the ground, and he'd always grown up watching Palace and everything. And one day he said to me, he said, "Right," he said, "Would you like to come to a game?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." So we did it, and it ended up becoming a real like tradition. I ended up getting a season ticket, and we ended up like that season. We watched a hell of a lot of home games and watched the Championship getting promoted. And then yeah, I've just really been into my football ever since. But you know, like even like on a Saturday afternoon back in the day, you know, I used to like love watching Grandstand because we didn't have like Sky Sports at the time, so we used to watch like Grandstand, and you always used to watch all the scores come in. And one thing I was quite intrigued about was not just the like say the Premier League, but also kind of like the Division 2, Division 3 and stuff. Because you used to see names there, and you go, oh, like as you know, you used to see Sutton in the conference, and you were like, oh, they're not far from us, or Carshort, and they're not far from us. So, and it was just interesting, like going through, like even when I got older, and I was watching, like you know, Palace flitting from like the Championship to the Premier League. You just like see like the different teams that have gone down, come up. It is, yeah. It's quite interesting actually. I've always been a fan of it. I've always watched it on telly. Partner's a Spurs fan, so he's pretty much always on in our house. So yeah, it's definitely in the blood. My mum actually, she started off as a Liverpool fan, ended up being a Man United fan.
Was that just to annoy Dad?
Yeah, I always used to tease her. I go, "What one are you this week?" So, yeah.
So I suppose your partner being a Spurs fan, you must have had a great time with the success you've had over the last 12 years.
Yeah.
Compared to the success at Spurs. Anyway.
Don't tell him that. He'll get really upset.
Do you ever just get out all the medals and go, here, look.
He hears that a lot, don't worry. Now that Conte's in, it's all different now.
So, yeah, you mentioned the massage, and I do remember a couple of years ago, at one of the end of the season of awards, it was the Gandemonium guys wetting themselves laughing because you and Bobby came out to collect an award, and Bobby was roundly booed.
Yeah.
You were roundly cheered.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right, one of the questions, obviously without naming names, please. Is there, my missus, when we used to do Sunday team, she'd have the medical kit bag and she'd be the one running on, and they used to miraculously jump up literally 2 steps away from them. So she was furious that we spent money on medical stuff, but with the bag could have been empty because we never used it. But is there any of the players that kind of, again, not current crop, it's just do you ever sort of see when someone goes down and think, oh, you know what, he's going to be fine? I don't want to run over there.
There's a few. You kind of are like, without naming names, you probably know who he is. You see him go down and you think, oh God, get up. And then there's some that you can see go down, and sometimes you're thinking, oh God, like why is he down? Oh, that's not good. That's not good.
Well, on that one, I will name a name. So when we were in Newport, was it? Ben went down.
Yeah.
And it was like almost broke the record. I think you guys getting over there. So certain players, it's you kind of like, whoa.
Yeah. especially if the Ben you're talking about was the only centre back. Everyone's gone.
We had done though. It was fine.
that was just after Kenny went down, and I was just like, oh no, don't.
Completely off track.
I've never clock watched so much in my life.
It was like a Sunday league game, the end of the season one, where you literally pull the names out of the hat and go, "Well, you're playing left back." Okay, you're playing this one. Super quickly on Kenny, something I found vaguely amusing. I don't know. One of the pictures, obviously, of when we won the championship.
Yeah.
And there's a picture of all the players together, and I think Kenny is sort of kind of side on.
Yeah.
And I've seen it on my phone. It's on the iPad, and then I was on the big screen. I was looking for something, and my little she's 4, bless her.
Yeah.
She's looking at it and she went, "But Daddy, that's not you." And I was like, "What's not me?" And she said, "That man, that's not you." And I was like,
Oh.
"Did you think that was Daddy?" And she's like, "Yes. He's got your shirt on." And I was like, "Oh no, baby."
Oh, bless her.
Bless her. Broke a little girl's heart, but never mind.
Oh.
I'm sure I'll do it far more often.
The problem is there's a fair few, without being rude, there's a fair few bald men hanging around Sutton United. I think that's the problem.
Yeah. We know. It's a choice.
Yeah.
I keep telling myself it's a choice. So what is a typical week for you guys?
Typical week. So training is, say for example, if we don't have a Tuesday game, we tend to train 4 days a week, 4 mornings. Usually, we'll start off with the morning breakfast and treatment, and if anyone's injured, obviously we set up their plan for the day. Then they go out, do their training. Sometimes with me and Ben, we don't always supervise that because if we've got injuries, we're off to the gym. And then come back, lunch, and then we go home. We like to keep it quite compact in the morning. Try to fit everything in, and Gaffer's very regimented, so he likes things done at certain times, finishing at certain times. But it's all good because everyone's kind of like everyone's around each other. And there's a really good atmosphere all the time that when they're there at training. I always say to Ben, because like sometimes if we've had an injury and we're like, oh God, like what is it this week? I always say, well, the start of the week doesn't always end up the end of the week. So it could be really varied. And say for example, if there's a game on Tuesday, there's usually we do training session on the day before a game. And again, it's kept real the same. Again, he likes to keep it very relaxed as well. And yeah, it's just we just normally just mornings. There's lots of massage, a hell of a lot of massage. But they want to keep themselves fit and they want to keep themselves good. Recovery is very important to them as well, especially if we've had an away game and it's like, so say for like Newport, we got back on I think it was like 2 a.m. No one can sleep, so we made sure that we had a day off and then we kind of resumed like Friday, Thursday, Friday. So it's it just depends what Gaffer wants and also like where we are, because we could be like, it hasn't happened yet, but we could have a Crawley on a Tuesday night and it'd be no different to saying if it's away compared to if it was a home game. But if it's an away game, it'd probably just be tweaked a little bit slightly.
Right. And I've said this loads of times with basically no data to back it up, so I'm hoping you say I'm right. The magic pitch that we had for all those years, which everyone hated because it caused so many injuries to players.
Yeah.
I don't remember us having significant bouts of injuries.
No, we didn't.
All those years, and we've gone to the grass pitch. Not all caused by the pitch, and I know that, but suddenly we've just got loads of injuries. Is it kind of the worst? I don't mean that horribly, but the worst you can remember it for injuries, for little knocks and.
Yeah, so when we had the 3G pitch, when we first ever got it, and every start of the season, it was almost like everyone was trying to adjust themselves to training on it. So you always tend to find at the start of the season, it was always niggles and getting, kind of like breaking it in. And then after that, you kind of were a lot better. Since we've had the grass pitch, there has been more injuries. It's not because the pitch has been, because the new pitch is on. It's usually because now we're training on grass. And with the weather that it's been currently and how we've had to train, you're not always going to get like most fantastic pitches. And you're not going to always get like an all-weather surround. So that's highlighted a little bit. But the other thing is fatigue. We've in October to say the end of Bradford, we had a hell of a lot of games, and a hell of a lot of travel. And that I'd say could be counted for it as well, because, you know, 1 minute you're playing, say for example, like when we played Swindon, and then the next thing you know, we're off, like, on the Friday off to Rochdale, and then you come back and then you got another game, and it was just very full on. And I think, like, trying to fit all those games in, train, travel, and we had a couple of hiccups with travel. It just it kind of got on top of everything, and now that we've kind of had this little bit of a break and COVID and everything, it's given us a little bit of a chance to kind of recoup a little bit. So it's we're starting to find our feet again now. But then we'll go into, because of COVID and like some, Colchester's game off, Bristol's game off, we'll go into again of a long stretch of like Tuesday, Saturdays.
Yeah.
And so then only time will tell what's going to happen then, really.
Yeah. So that's what I was just thinking is, we've got, I know Bruce doesn't think it's a small squad, but Matt would say it's a small squad. Most people would say it's a small squad. But the small squad is going to get stretched at the end of the season again.
You go from having a lot of choice, and then something happens, and then not a lot of choice.
Yeah.
And that can be the factor in any, like, in that environment, really.
Yeah, I mean, he's done brilliantly in loads and loads of things, but having those players that can A, play in positions, and B, just go, yeah, all right, I'll give it a go. Go on. I played centre back for the under 10s. How hard can it be? But you mentioned COVID. How has it changed what you guys do? Is it changed dramatically, or?
It hasn't changed it dramatically. I mean, one thing I'd probably say is it does cause a bit of upheaval, especially if you've got players who are tested positive. But we're just kind of like, we're just trying to take it, every day as it comes. There's a lot of testing, and just, following all the protocols, and that's literally all we're doing. We're just trying to, at this moment in time, just do our job in a COVID world. And it's, it's not the easiest thing in the world, but we just get on with it, because I'd rather be playing and having games than not having a season at all, like we did when the first season was scrapped, when it all happened. So
yeah, I mean, there's different views when you read the different people's views on Twitter. Is just loads of people of various different clubs going, we'll just play the kids. It's like, whoa, hang on a minute, you can't just chuck kids in.
It doesn't really work that way.
So yes, it'd be okay. You might have one or two on the bench, but so yeah, we've been lucky. We had our bout at the start of the season. I think we had one game called off, and then these other games have been called off for nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
But obviously we don't know what's going to. At the moment, Exeter's going ahead. Yes. That in itself must be really frustrating for everyone, because you're building to a point of playing a match, and the training, your work is all building to getting people ready for a particular point.
Yeah.
And then suddenly that's gone 24 hours before, maybe, and it's like, well, then how do I get them back up for the next one? And to a certain point, when you're doing it yourself, you might be like, oh, what's the point? It's only going to get called off. So you're then on the back foot straight away. So how do you guys cope with that? Is it going to be on or not?
Well, I think how we've kind of just seen it is that if it's on, it's on. It's not, it's not. And we've just kept it just training. So in that time, we're just keeping spirits up, really, and just kind of just focusing on just, good training sessions, making sure people are really fit, rested when they needed to be, and then just kind of then with that, just knowing full well that when we come into a spout of games where we're going to be playing quite a lot, that we've got the fitness and the stamina to get through it, really. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, you're always going to get a bit of moaning, and you're always going to get, like, you're always going to get a little bit of natural frustration. But that's with COVID, because COVID, unfortunately, has turned all our lives upside down for the last 2 years. And I think it's where we've taken on, not just me or the club, but I think all of us take for granted our freedom. And then all of a sudden, when things like that happen and it's well beyond your control, it can, it can make you, it kind of, have that natural frustration. You can't get back to your, like to that taken for granted where you never even thought about it kind of feeling. So it's, it's just something you have to kind of take day by day with, really.
Yeah, I mean, for me, football, I always thought was, it's there, it's literally down the road from me. I'll rock up on a Saturday or a Tuesday, watch it, and that's it. It's done.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm not Mr. Sociable and everything. And next thing it's taken away, and I was miserable and didn't help. Didn't help.
There's a lot of people like that. Yeah.
Didn't help that they had the best season they ever had ever. And we were watching it on our little screens, going, "This is a wind up, surely."
It was very weird. I'll give it that. It was you're going into games and there's nobody there, and all you can hear is Gaffer. That's literally all you can hear him. He's very loud.
To be fair, some games.
Yeah, it was just no atmosphere.
You realise that people aren't singing all of a sudden when you can just hear Matt word for word. You're like, actually, we should probably make some noise.
Yeah.
Drown that out. So also, I'm going to wrap this up in a minute because I know you've got to shoot off, but turning professional, has that meant a big change for you, or?
Yeah. So when I was with the team last season, when the second lockdown hit, Matt was like, and Bobby was like, "Oh, seeing as how you're not allowed to do your job," which this is the really weird part, because obviously we're under certain restrictions and stuff. I could do the work at Sutton, but I couldn't do my own job. So they said, "Oh, just come on." So I did, and obviously I must have done a good job, because when we got promoted, he turned around to me and he said, I want you to be part of this full time. And so my workload has gone from there to there. So it's, I don't complain. I'd rather be busy than not, but yeah, it's been really busy, and just trying to fit you, because I also do my clinic there. And I do my sports massage there. I do rehab and loads of other bits with my clinic. You jump from literally your training in the morning to your clinic in the afternoon, and then I've got all this training training and traveling in between. So yeah, it's taken a little bit of time getting used to, and I won't lie, we were all tired at the end of it when it happened. But I've been really enjoying it. Just kind of like, also visiting grounds like you never thought you would be visiting. And I think that's one of my highlights actually of this season, is going to places like Exeter and Northampton and Rochdale and Colchester and all these different places. And it's just really like, just, I think the best one was like Portsmouth was one, when we, when you come out at Fratton Park, you're like looking at it. Bradford the same. You see these, you see these places on telly, and like you're thinking, wow, I'm here. This is really cool.
that one had quite an impact on quite a lot of people, because they were like, the Portsmouth one was in a cup, so it's kind of like, oh yeah, but then the Bradford one was like, hang on, we're in the league, we're above them. What the hell's going on?
I know. It's a little bit of a shock. One thing it does is it really kind of pinches, like brings home like how well we done last season to get there, and now we're mixing in with the big boys. It's just weird, because like we've worked so hard to get there, we deserve to be there, and then we're there. And and it's just another like great memory to add to the others that we have already. So yeah, I'll take that any day over like all the tiredness and the travel. And stuff.
Again, the tiredness will pass at some point. I know you don't believe it sometimes.
It takes a season at least to get used to it. Yeah. So when you haven't done it before, or you have a bit of a break, it does take like a little bit of time to adjust to it all.
a week, 10 days into the end of the season, you'll be kind of like, right, what's
Yeah.
next?
Yeah, bring it on.
And it probably doesn't help that some of your clients bother you by leaving their coats at your place, and they have to arrange to get it back. Like my mummy did.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
She's messaging me going, "Did I leave my coat at Catherine?" How the hell would I know? I don't know.
I do know that.
And also, I sort of, you keep popping up on sort of random Facebook groups I'm in as well. So the Sutton News group I know, because we both live in Sutton. And all of a
Yes,
sudden,
we're in the Sutton News group. Yeah.
You're on that the Conqueror community.
Yes, I'm on the Conqueror challenges as well. Are you on that?
Yeah. I suddenly saw your name up, and I was like, oh, look, it's the same as. Hi, my name's Catherine.
Yeah, I'll tell you how that happened. We were when we were in the lockdown. My boyfriend got me the Joe Wicks book, and in it was talking about mental health, about putting your exercise for your mental health. So me and my friends actually started up a boot camp, because we were like, do you know what? We want to get fit, not like fit like to fit, but just get fit all round. And one day I was looking on my phone and something came up with the Conqueror challenges, and it was John O'Groats Land's End. And we all ended up doing a group, and we done it in 4 months. We done all of it together. There was about 8 of us, I think, and we done Land's End to John O'Groats, and it was really good, because my friend who lives in London, she was pounding the streets of London. I was pounding the streets of Belmont and Cheam. My friend who lives in Uckfield was going round Buxted Park, and we were just tallying up all our mileage, and it was really good actually, because every time we like done our put in our miles for the day and all that sort of stuff, you were going up the country, and we're like, oh look, have you got your postcard yet?
Well, I did it on cheap, so I did a similar thing for my work colleagues, and just I tracked it on a spreadsheet and then did it on a map.
Yeah.
And then that Conqueror thing came up on mine from someone else.
Yeah.
So I decided to do my own little one, which was I was going to do 1 million meters in this year. So extra meters, not like walking to the shop. So it was 1 million meters. And then I was flying. I was doing so well at the start of the year. In April and May, I was running, and it was like, oh my god, I haven't run since I was a child. And then it kind of went down, but I managed to do it. So I'm like, now I've got to sign up to another one. I was hoping to fail and go, right, that's it, that's gone. Now I've got to find which one I want to do next.
Yeah, I was thinking of doing another one, and then I was thinking of doing the Camino. And to be quite honest, I was like, yeah, I'd love to do that one, but I'd also love to do it in real life. So yeah, but it's that one or the Ring Road at Iceland. So
if anyone from Conqueror Medals is listening, I charge. I know you were a little bit nervous because you haven't done a podcast. Probably been brilliant. So thank you very, very much.
No problem.
I'm going to let you go on because I've held you a little bit longer than I said I would. I do apologise.
That's fine. Thank you for being nice to me.
I'm always going to be nice. You've got a whole bunch of 6 foot something people to look after you. So.
Don't worry, they won't be knocking down your door.
Exactly. So hopefully we'll get to see you on Saturday.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
And yeah, it'll be good. But you mentioned you're a football fan, you're a Sutton fan, and I'm going to put you on the spot. Give me a prediction.
Exeter. Well, right. So when we played Exeter away, we played brilliantly, and I felt that we didn't deserve the loss. So I have a feeling we'll probably give them back what they gave us, and I'd say 2-0. Oh,
well, you've matched exactly what I've put.
Oh, have I?
I've got this really, really exciting, wonderful system where I holiday mode Football Manager, and it came up with 2-0 to Sutton. So I'll do that. So hopefully it's got money on 2-0. Yeah.
I'll keep my fingers crossed. If I get that right, I'm going to be very smug.
Right, take care of yourself. Thank you for doing the interview. It's lovely, and hopefully I'll get you on again another time.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
And anyone who wants to follow on the socials, it's at Sutton Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, which is I don't use. And obviously, if you want to chuck in any comments, I do love reading them. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening.
United!